the show in 1983?
You know, I think Hervé, when I first met him, he was such a very sweet little guy, wonderful. I can say little guy, very sweet guy, very, it's a man. And, but this is what happened. At first, we didn't have a motorhome. I didn't have a motorhome. We had a little dressing room outside the set, you know, it's kind of hot, not air conditioned. And I didn't, somebody said, why don't you have a motorhome? I said, I don't want it because the guests come, wonderful actors that I admired from afar and never had a chance to work. And I'm working with them, wonderful. And they have a, you know, dressing room like that. I'll have a dressing room like that. But it was Johnny Newland, director, was directing the particular choice. Well, what is your, let's go to your motorhome. I don't have a motorhome. You don't have a motorhome? I said, Ricardo, the actors come and they work 5 days and they go home. You're going to be here for years. This is going to be this is the first year. A successful thing. You're going to be here for years. You need a motorhome. We have all your goodies and a refrigerator and the thing. So I asked my agent. He said, certainly. And so I got a motorhome. A day later, Hervé, his agent, he wants a motorhome. Exactly the same as mine. Now, forgive me for saying this, but I had to say it. When you had to use something more than washing your hands, something more important that nature calls you to do, you were sitting down and the wall was here, and instead of facing that way, where there was a little room, the thing facing out, so you couldn't get up. It was very difficult to do anything. So I asked, I said, could I have a motorhome that the thing faces that way so I can, you know. The response came, yes, but it'll be about 3 feet longer than this motorhome. It's about 3 feet longer. I said, well, is that, no, that's fine. So I got that thing, 3 feet longer, it was comfortable, facing that way, nicer. I wanted one exactly like Ricardo. I mean, he's a very short little man. I mean, this motorhome was like huge for him. He wanted exactly. You know. The first mistake I made was at the very beginning, it was supposed to be starring Ricardo Montalban, you know, and then with Hervé. And they came, oh, no, poor little guy. You know, at the beginning, do you mind if he started Ricardo Montalban and Hervé? I said, of course. Yeah. So that was big. And he wanted everything that I. And towards the end, at the end of the 6th season, we knew we were going to go one more year, and that was it. That was the end of 7 seasons. At the end of the 6th season, he says, I won't work unless I get paid exactly like what Ricardo gets paid. And they said, we can't do that. Well, then I won't do the show, but then I'll do the show. And he left. And he missed 1 year of income, which was considerable at that time, unfortunately. And that's why he left. He left the show. They saw, thinking they were going to say, oh, no, please, yeah, we'll give you the same money. He said, no, we can't do that. The same amount of money, exactly. It was very good money, you know. But that's what happened. It was, I think it was ill-advised. I think perhaps his agent became a little too ambitious or something, and he told him, I mean, you are, you know, you're a big hit in this thing. People keep talking about the plane, you get the money. And I guess he was convinced that he should get exactly what I was getting. You know, I've been working all my life as an actor, and you know, and all of a sudden here I am, and he had done a couple of little things, and then all of a sudden he's here and he wants the same amount of money that I was earning, and they said no.
How was his departure explained on the program?
It wasn't explained. It's something. He went to visit his cousin or one of those things. He had to go and visit a relative or something, and then they brought Christopher Hewitt, which was Christopher was very, very good. But no, they should have brought some little people that would have been relatives of his, you know, when he was gone or something, because it was the look of me with the little guy that was very, very well established in people's minds. And also Christopher Hewitt was a little taller than I or something. And it didn't have the mystery of that look that Aaron wanted. I wish Aaron had been in control of the show. But,
you had just said that that the show is only going to go 7 seasons. How was that decided?
well, you know, as I understand, the money that they make after the 3 seasons, that's all they need, 3, 5 at the most. After that, for some reason, I don't know why, the show has, you know, done the thing that they wanted it to do, and 7 is too many. They told me that. I don't understand it, but that's what they said to me. That after they lose interest after 5 years. The producers, you know, the money, making money out of it, and that was enough. That's what they said. Ratings were still quite good, very good, as a matter of fact. But we maintained a very good level of ratings, you know, throughout the years. Well, that was the end of it. In a way, I'm glad because, you know, 7 years of playing Mr. Rourke and doing just exposition, it's enough. It was enough for me.
Can you talk a little bit about the day-to-day schedule that you had for production in terms of, you know, from the time you received the script till the time you did the program?
On which show?
For Fantasy Island, what the general schedule was for you?
Oh, it was a very difficult schedule. I directed 2 of the shows. It scared me because every producer, every director that came and said, this is probably the toughest show to direct because you have to do it in 7 days. And we had changes of makeup when a woman came, you know, very young and beautiful, and he wanted to be something, an old woman, and the makeup took forever. And then we went on location twice with every show, different places. It was very difficult show to do. We used to work sometimes very long hours, you know, very, very difficult show. And so, I was involved not in every scene, but in every set. So I had to be there from morning till the end of the day. Very seldom did I have an afternoon off. Very seldom, or a morning off. You know, it's really heavy, very heavy schedule for me. And so we would be doing the show, and then about 2 days into the show, we'd get the new script. And then here I am acting and everything, and then trying to put this show a little bit in your mind so you know where you're going with it, and so that, you know, you're shooting the next day, the next script, you know. Very difficult to go from one to the other like that without learning the new one while you still not quite learn the one you're doing. It's not easy. Very, very tough schedule.
Did you contribute at all to the storylines?
Did I what?
Did you contribute to the storylines at all?
No, I didn't really. No, I didn't contribute to the storyline. I know many actors do that, and they're wonderful at it. I've often felt that, I don't know, that unless I were a writer, which I'm not, keep my mouth shut. I mean, I would say certain things that were maybe repetitive or not explained clearly, or things like that. You know, those contributions I would make, you know, because they made sense and they were logical. And I would say 99% of the time they would accept it. They say, yeah, that's right, because I'm working on that. I knew it so well, and I said, no, wait a minute, would he say this? Because logically, not, I refuse to say this. No. You know, but logically tried to convince the producer on it. I never changed the line without the permission of the producer or the writer. Never. I always, as I say, I respect the writer more than anybody in the business.
How closely did you work with the producers? How closely did you work with the producers on the show?
We're very close. Arthur Rowe was the producer online, and Arthur was a very decent, good man. And we used to talk a great deal and everything. But as I said, towards the end, I think everybody got a little bit laxed. We began not repeating ourselves, but not being imaginative enough. You know, I think in a sense we'd never even scratched the surface of of what we could do. Can you imagine Fantasy Island? You could do Streetcar Named Desire. You could do Law and Hardy. You could anything. You could do the inventor of the atomic bomb. You could. I mean, there was no limit to what we could do, and I don't think we really went as deeply into it as we could have gone.
How closely did you work with the directors?
Well, the director, no, he would come, and I just working with one director, and then while working on one episode, the director of the next episode was preparing, looking for locations, casting, all those things. And then, this episode ends, I start with the director right away without any really communication with the director. Very seldom. Sometimes they would come when I was between scenes or during my lunch hour, and they'd come and talk to me about the next episode and this and this. We exchanged some ideas, but that was as far as it would go. The directors in Fantasy Island, most of the directors, were almost by necessity traffic cops directing traffic, because the thing had to be done in 7 days. That was the important thing, is bring it on time, Performance, yeah, but there was one director that used to drive me crazy because we always came on time or 5 hours under, the required time. Marvelous. He was the best. But when it came to direction, he got the script and he would say, action, and looked at the script. Cut. Good, and let's go. If you didn't make mistake in the dialogue, he would print it instead of watching you and help you give good performance. And all he cared about was that you didn't make a mistake in the dialogue, because, you see, that would be disaster. If you said printed and there was a mistake, it drove me crazy. But most of them were a little bit like that. Some of them did care about the performance, but not too many, because of the nature of the program. They felt, well, we know the characters so well by now. Who am I to say, do this, do that? I mean, so they left us alone, unfortunately, because the actor, I crave, as I said, the loving eye of the director to tell me, Ricardo, you have to be a little more truthful. You're being a little bit, I don't believe you, or you're going too much or too little. You need something to guide you, like a conductor in an orchestra. Instead of just, you don't make a mistake in the dialogue, print it, let's move over here. It's hard. It's hard to do.
How did that compare with the directing of the 2 episodes that you directed?
How did I compare what?
Talk about the 2 episodes that you directed.
Oh, yes. Well, everybody there, including Emmett Bergholz, who was our cameraman, wonderful man, says, Ricardo, why don't you direct? I want to tell him, you should direct one. You know it so well. Why don't you direct? I said, oh, I can't. I even, impossible. No, come on. I said, but I can't. I have to prepare. Well, what we do is at the end of the season, the very first show of the next season, you have a month off or something, and you have 2 weeks to prepare. And those 2 weeks I prepared the show. I even wrote little sketches of what the angle that I want and the thing, and I went to locations and I looked at the location. I really prepared myself the very best I could, And so then I would I'll be directing, and my eye was, I know that the actors what they want. And I had in one of the actors that I directed was an idol of mine, because he was from All Quiet on the Western Front, the great classic. His name was Lou Ayres, who's ended up playing Dr. Kildare in film, and many wonderful roles that he did. Wonderful, consummate actor. And he did this part, and I gave him some advice, and he said, yeah, he liked my concept of the character, And in one occasion, we're doing a scene, and he did the scene, I thought, beautifully. And I said, oh, it's wonderful, print. And he went like this, and he walked away, to a corner of the set. And I told Emmett, the cameraman, don't move the camera. Don't move the camera yet. Wait a minute. Something is. And I went, Lou? Yes. I said, listen, is something bothering you? No, no, no. I said, because I haven't moved the camera. If you want another take, we can do it. Come on. I thought you were wonderful. You're wonderful. Otherwise, I wouldn't have printed it, I thought you were wonderful. He said, no, it isn't that. Well, what is it? I said, oh, Ricardo, acting is so difficult. Now, this is a man with all the experience, but humble enough to know that you can do it better, But so that was a wonderful experience as a director. And then that was at the end of the 5th season. Then beginning of the 7th season, the next season again, they gave me another show to do. And I did the same thing. I had 2 weeks to prepare. I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy wearing 2 hats. I enjoy directing, but I didn't want directing, and then I'm in the camera, and then I'm thinking, what am I thinking now? As an actor, which you only concentrated, or am I also with another eye looking at myself? How am I doing this? Am I doing right? And how is he, the other actor, how is he doing? That confused me. I'm not that intelligent or that talented to be able to do things at the same time. I couldn't. Either I act or I direct. I couldn't do both. I envy so many of the wonderful actors today that can do both. I can't.
How were the guest stars cast on the show?
Mostly by Columbia, by the studio. They have casting directors, and then they propose them, and of course they had to have the okay also of Arthur Rowe and the other co-producers and the thing. And I was not involved in the casting, except when the 2 shows that I did, I had to cast, and there would be 2 actors or actresses, and I had to choose one between the other, and to have the other one, and say, oh God, no, we're not going to use, we're going to use you. And that's so difficult as an actor to say that to a fellow actor. That, I didn't like casting. I didn't like the idea of the responsibility, unless there's somebody definite that I wanted. I'd say I want so and so, but I didn't have that privilege because Columbia really cast the picture, the studio.
Who were some of your favorite guest stars?
Oof. Favorite guest stars. Oh, so many. Roddy McDowell, we did a couple. He played the devil, my counterpart, and that was well written and it was fun. Repartee with Roddy. I liked so many. Maurice Evans, gosh, distinguished Shakespearean actor, and Don Amici came. So many. I mean, you can imagine 7 years. Excuse me, 7 years. I cannot tell you. It's a blur, But I remember that, and it just the pleasure of every week saying, "Who's in the cast next week?" Oh, so and so, wonderful, Actors that I didn't know, but the favorite, really, I love actors, so actors are all my favorite people. I love actors.
Would you meet with them before rehearsals or anything to help them?
No, that was only when I directed those 2 shows. I did have the sort of tete-a-tete, and thinking, that is the concept that I had the guy. See if you approve. I mean, this is only, as a director, it's only an opinion to guide you through this. See if you, For instance, with Lou Ayres, I told him, he wrote me a letter saying that I was a good director. A very, very sweet letter. What I told him was, he was doing something, and I said, no, I'll tell you something. You're doing something, you're not doing it for yourself, because that would be selfish. You're doing it for the memory of your wife, whom you adore. So you're doing this for her, not for yourself. He liked that, because, you see, you do it for yourself, you become selfish. Whereas if you are doing something, no matter what it is, for the love of somebody else, then you become magnanimous, you become giving, and that's very attractive to the audience. By the way, television is a strange medium. I know very famous or wonderful actors with Academy Awards and everything who tried to do series, and on the big screen they were accepted and applauded. In the little screen, when you're coming to my living room, they were not accepted by the audience. because you become almost like a part of the furniture. You know, you're in my home. There's something about it has to be likable in a way or interesting. I don't know what it is, but there were quite a few actors who tried to do a series, and I thought, oh, it's going to be wonderful. Total failure. Isn't that amazing? Something about the difference between going to a theater and paying and sitting there on the big screen, and the other one is, this is my home. You know, I have control of the thing, you know, like the remote control. I have control of this. I don't like it. I change it. It's very interesting, the phenomenon of coming into a people's home. You know.
Quite a few Latino actors got their start on Fantasy Island. Were you influential at all in the casting of those Latino actors?
No, I was never influential in the casting, except 2 shows that I did. I would offer my preference, you know, but that's about it. I didn't. What I didn't want was for the actors to know that I was in control of that. It was afterward I would say, listen, I would like him or her. You know, that's my preference. Okay, you take over from here. I would show preference for a character that I felt fitted the role better than the other. But I don't think I had that much to say, really, to tell you the truth.
Someone who entered the cast kind of late was Wendy Schall as Julie.
This was what? The what?
Wendy Schall was added to the cast as
Oh,
Julie.
Wendy, yes. Oh, what a
How'd
sweet,
that come about?
what a sweet girl. Well, I think perhaps what happened, I don't know, because I was never told, you know, I just did my job and I shut up. But Wendy, they thought that perhaps, you know, it'd be wonderful to have a young girl. We have a man, we had Hervé, a boy. What about a young girl to help us and assisting us and everything? And it sounded like a very good idea. But also that was aimed at a different public. It was aimed at the kids. Those shows that she appeared was more aimed at an even younger generation than we were. I think that's why they cast her in that. If I remember correctly, there were almost like 2 fantasy islands at that moment. This was going to be like an offshoot or something of the original. I don't know what the plan was. I really don't know.
Where was the series filmed?
You know, we went for 2 years to Kauai, no Kauai, the island of Kauai, and we would do a lot of shots of, for instance, of driving the jeep from camera right to camera left direction, then from left to camera right, then a shot of me walking, camera right, then camera left in front of a waterfall or something, Hervé and I together. Hervé alone walking, so that you could then intercut when we were at the studio. Well, I am going to talk to Miss So-and-so, and I would leave the room and you see me walking in front of this beautiful thing, and then arrive in the bungalow, and yeah. So you intercut all these things, you know. We had a lot of stuff shot in Kauai. In those, we shot 2 episodes each year there, and then finally I thought it was a little too expensive, so So, wait a minute. So we used to go to the Arboretum. I don't know that. Arboretum is a place here by the Santa Anita racetrack where they have trees from all over the world. It's a, you know, botanical garden of some sort. And we shot that a great deal because it looks almost like the vegetation of an island. But that also became a little expensive. And I said, well, in the back lot, why don't we just plant all around, you know, plants and trees or palm trees or something, so we can shoot in every direction, 360 degrees. And they did that, and we saved a fortune by shooting there. So we shot there, mostly at the Burbank studios. And but every show would have 2 days of location. Either go to the beach, go to a castle. We found a house that looked like a castle, different places. We had 2 days of locations to open the show more, so it would be always in the studio, you know. And that's what became difficult to do in 7 days. It was a very ambitious program, really. So mostly it was done here, mostly. Intercut with the things that we did in Hawaii, in Kauai, yeah.
What were some of your favorite episodes of the series?
You know, it's quite a while ago, 74 to 80, what is it, 19, I forgot, 74 to 81 or something like that, 82, anyway.
84.
That's a long time ago. I know Fantasy Island has become, in my mind, how would I say, a cloudy memory. I can't. I mean, there's so many shows, and one after the other, and so many actors, and so that I haven't forgotten many of the episodes. I mentioned the one with Roddy McDowell because it was very well written, and the fact that finally I had an antagonist that I could show some kind of anger or some kind of, a justifiable annoyance or something, rather than, how do you do, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rourke, your host, welcome to Fantasy Island. I could say, damn you can. So I think for me, those were the most interesting episodes for me as an actor in the film.
How did you find out that the show would not be returning in 1984?
My agent was told that this would be the last season, that they're not going to do it again. He told me that about, maybe mid-season. I knew it was the end. We all knew. Yeah, it was unfortunately something that I read in the newspaper, like read about the actor who's doing a soap, and he's very happy in New York. And looks at that, making him up, and in the script for the next episode, and he reads it, says, "Oh my God, they killed me! I die in this." That was the way he found out that he was off That's very sad. We didn't tell him. The script says you die, and that was it. Well, I didn't read it. I mean, I didn't learn in such a cruel way that we were not canceled. It was logical. It was logical. 7 years enough. It wasn't a shock really anymore.
What was the atmosphere on the set on the final day of shooting that last episode?
Emotional. We became, the corny thing to say, it's a family, but we did. In 7 years, I attended, birthdays, christenings, birth of the children, deaths, divorces, marriages, diseases, illnesses, like a family. 7 years, a considerable amount of time to be together with all these people. And so the last episode it was hard to believe, this is it. I'm not going to be here tomorrow. This is it. Goodbye. And we hugged, and there were tears shed. A lot of hugging, a lot of loving, and goodbye, and a lot of affection. You see, people said that our set was one of the happiest sets that they worked with, because somehow I fell into the role of being the leading actor or something, and the leading actor can do a great deal to influence the atmosphere, the ambiance on the set. If the actor is conceited or demanding or this, no, I won't show up, or comes a little drunk or whatever it is. But in my case, I knew that I had ruled by example, and I was never late. Never one day was ever late in 7 years. Of course, never drink or anything like that. At the end of the day, I have a little shot, while I was taking the makeup off and everything, yeah. Before I went home, we had a little shot of bourbon or something. But I tried to be loving with everybody, and that comes back. See, that's what Sekisano said to me. As an actor, you give, you receive. And I tried to give affection and respect for everybody in the set, no matter what the position was. We were all human beings, and I think that created really an atmosphere that was very, very pleasant.
Let's stop here to change the tape.